Hey, we're back for another week. It's the Just a Couple of Jerks podcast. If you're enjoying these podcasts, I hope you are, do subscribe, do follow. Also check out the Twitter account, Just Jerks Pod, and give us a follow on that, and give us some feedback. The feedback I'm getting so far is pretty positive, and I'm happy to hear either way, if you like it or you loathe it. This week's episode, I'm talking to Jan Ketil Skanke. I think that's as good as you're going to get for me pronouncing his last name, but I have a little go on the podcast as well. Jan's a Man United fan. Didn't tell me that at the time, only when I was tweeting about Liverpool. Not that I'm a Liverpool fan, but he chipped in on Twitter. What we do talk about is his passion for motorbikes, in particular the Harley Davidson that he's got. We also have a good chat about the success of the business that he's working with, called Cloudway. It's doing really well in Norway and beyond. Check them out. Team Cloudway on Twitter. And we chat about his presenting skills. I think Jan's pretty cool at presenting. I've watched him a few times. And he comes across as a real good guy on the podcast. Hope you enjoy it. And check out for more podcasts in the next few weeks.
Sound is a lot better.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe that's just started using my swanky new headset then.
Yeah.
Properly.
Okay, because now it's really much better than before, which is great.
No, that's exactly what I want. So what I've been doing is I bought a headset, and prior to that, I'd been using a cheap pair of headphones with the little mic thing sticking out. But it has two outputs, but there's only one input on the laptop. So it's been using the microphone on the laptop to record.
Oh,
So I think we just flipped it there, possibly. Yeah.
possibly, yeah.
Yeah. Now, if I knew anything about technology, I'd have done this a while back. Yeah, and upgraded.
Yeah,
But
well, that's one of the benefits of working with Teams MVPs. They tell me that I need proper headsets.
okay. So, do they give you a specific recommendation for that then?
Well, they don't
Normal,
have
yeah.
to because we're actually getting headset for free from Sennheiser.
Ah. Okay. So I bought Sennheiser. So do they have a particular recommended model, or do they just give you a particular set?
So I have the MB660, like the wireless with for flight and everything. And I do have another one which is a decked headset, which basically mean I can move around the whole house without
Oh,
you
yes.
noticing.
Right.
So
Is that what you're doing now?
now I'm using the decked, but now I'm sitting in my office with the door closed for convenience.
Chilling out
Yeah.
after a long day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I bought the PXC 550s, which are pretty cool. So the whole house. I've got 4 kids.
Yeah, but they are
And,
not
and
optimized. They are not Teams or Skype certified headsets, right?
no,
That's a consumer headset.
right.
Yeah.
But they're
So,
good enough.
yeah. Yeah, well, the most important is that the thing is if you have actually a certified headset, they're using codecs that are better uh, suited better for Skype and Teams than other headsets. So the codec actually in the hardware that's used to make your audio better, it's optimized for Teams and Skype.
Oh man.
So yeah, that's some stuff I've been learning lately.
This is it. I was actually thinking about that because it's quite important, I suppose.
Yeah.
For us. But I didn't. So I haven't wasted my money, but maybe I need to get another set. Is that right? Do you think?
Yeah, it depends. How much
Mm.
audio meetings do you take? But your sound is pretty good though, and the most important thing is that your mic also have noise canceling,
Yeah,
right? So it doesn't
yeah,
take the whole room and everybody around you.
yeah.
So at least if I'm using the MB660, then it's like I was actually doing a meeting walking around the airport, and people didn't notice I was in an airport walking around.
Really?
Yeah,
It's that good. So
yeah,
I've got the noise cancelling turned on. Oh no, sorry, no, I've got auto sense or something. It
yeah,
kind of works it out.
yeah. My headset is pretty much looks exactly like yours,
Yeah,
but it is a pro version optimized for Teams and Skype, basically.
man,
Yeah.
I could have spent a bit more money, should I?
No, you're good. I mean, how often do you walk around the airport doing meetings these days?
Yeah, exactly. Not going to happen much at the minute, is it?
No.
No, not for a little while. But yeah, these are cool. So they're working for now. We'll see how we get on as we record. So Jan Ketil, and I cannot pronounce your last name, so I want you to do me justice here and tell me how to pronounce your last name, or even your whole name, Jan.
Jan Ketil Skanke.
Skanke.
Yeah, that's good.
Jan
Don't,
Ketil
don't
Skanke.
just don't say skank. Then I'm good.
Yeah, skanky is a bit of a word in the UK meaning a bit dirty.
Yeah, or you've effing skank, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's the
So
one.
yeah, I actually had that once. So at the airport, they called me up to the desk and they were like, "Hey, can Mr. Skank please come to gate 40, Mr. Skank?" And I was like, "Oh my god, shut the f up."
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay,
So
you're recording now, right? Yeah, this is cut time.
I am. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We try to avoid swearing, but hey ho. So Scott. Oh God, do it again. Say it again.
Jan Ketil Skanke.
Skonke.
Skanke.
Skunke.
Skanke. Yeah, I
It's
know
not.
it's hard.
Jan Kettle Skunke.
Yeah.
Cheers for joining the Just a Couple of Jerks podcast today.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, as I've said in previous podcasts, you're not a jerk. Not that I know, anyway. But the idea around that title is around us as experts in the community, just coming across as regular people. Yeah. Um, we go around play. Well, you do. You never stop traveling, or well, up until recently, we go around the place. We do things, and we're seen as these people who are experts. But ultimately, we're just normal people. Yeah, uh, just a couple of jerks. So yeah, cheers for joining me. And I've had one of your, as you say, you were here in the podcast a little bit with Morris. So we've had one of your workmates on the podcast previously.
Mm.
What's it like to work with Morris?
So I'm just only working with Morris, I'm actually his boss.
No,
So
no. So this is
yeah.
where you can tell us what he's like. Yeah,
Okay, now I owe him a beer, actually.
right.
Yeah. But yeah, so honestly, it's a pleasure working with him.
Yeah,
He
he's
is,
a good guy.
yeah, he's a good guy. He's a good friend of mine, and so we're much more than colleagues, basically. Yeah,
Yeah. So you work. So you have your own business, Cloudway.
yeah. Together with another partner here in Norway, we have it together kindly. Yeah,
Yes. And what's his name?
Ståle.
Stole it, right. So you did it justice there. You pronounced it for me. So you've been running that together for a little while now.
Yeah. So I started in May June 2017, and Ståle started it like around New Year's. So I had some leave time I had to take care of before I could join. But basically, I said yes to join him like 3 months after he started.
Right. Okay. And you were an MVP at that point, weren't you?
Yeah, pretty recent MVP at that point.
Right. So you'd obviously known him in the community for a little while.
Yeah, but we never worked together before. So it was quite exciting when we started talking together because we never actually met in any projects or done any work together. So yeah, it get my heart pumping a bit when we started talking, of course, but it turned out really well.
Yeah. Yeah. It seems to be doing really really well because you've grown it tremendously in that time, from what I can see. So you started off. So his idea, I take it then, yeah, and just came to you, said, "I've got this idea. I'm doing a bit of this. Do you want to be involved?"
Yeah, basically. So he laid out the idea of what he was imagining for Cloudway, and yeah, I kind of liked it. I mean, it's all about being that go-to partner for competency, like the high-end skill kind of partner that, yeah, delivers high quality and everything from A to Z, basically. So we can do advisory, we can do project management, we can do hands-on implementation, troubleshooting. So yeah, basically we can do anything in the space we are experts.
So did you have to give up a job to join effectively? Were you kind of so quite a risk?
Yeah, well, yeah, of course there is always a risk, but at the same time, I was kind of confident that if this went the wrong way, I shouldn't have a hard time getting a job again.
Right.
Because the market in Norway has been really good for people with my skill set, at least. It's a huge demand, and that's one of the reasons it's only me delivering on my content in Norway in Cloudway, because it's really hard to find good people that want to jump ship, basically.
Hmm. Your content being, what is it? What's your skill set then?
Yeah, well, I'm an MVP in enterprise mobility, so that's where my skill set is around endpoint management, security, identity. Yeah, basically.
Yeah, yeah, and you do it very well. I mean, when you come over to the UK with the now you're not SC config manager guys anymore, are you? You're
N-
rebranded.
Yeah, we have rebranded now. It's MS Endpoint Manager, guys and girls. Remember?
Yes, yes,
Yes.
and a good bunch of people, good, huge skill set. And when you come over, you present, and you seem very relaxed in doing that, very confident in doing that. Doesn't seem to phase you, and the content that you do comes across. The delivery seems very very good from
Yeah,
what
that's
I've seen
that's
anyway.
that's one of the perks, right? When you are defining your own venue, your own day, you kind of pick the content you really care for and burn for, and then it's much easier to have that confidence. Sometimes when you get like pushed into delivering something that's more on the edge of your box, when you have to go like outside your box a bit, then it's not that easy to be that confident. But I always get nervous when I'm on stage, even though I was speaking about the same content like 50 times. It's always like you have adrenaline and you are nervous. But I think that is a good thing. It keeps me sharp.
That's good to hear actually, because I say it all the time. I get very nervous before I start, and I start asking myself silly questions in my head, like, why am I doing this? You know, why am I putting myself through it? But then that eases off very quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when I said basically when I've said my name and said hello, and at least if you sometimes I have a kind of an icebreaker or something, and then if you get any kind of feedback on that, it's like it's all gone, and then I'm in the flow.
Yeah. But also, when you finish off a presentation as well, a session, you get feedback from people pretty quickly in the room when you're sort of just walking around or whatever. Someone will come up and say, "That's great."
Yeah.
In fact, I've even said it to you one time in London. I said, I really enjoyed that. And that helps, doesn't it? You don't ever get negative. Well, I've not anyway. Negative feedback on what
No,
you've done.
not in your face, right?
No,
Uh,
no,
and all the positive feedback you get, and people saying this really helped me. I really learned something. That's the reason I do this, right? It's because I actually, yeah, I love to share what I know with other people so they can have a better day at their job,
yeah.
basically.
And even if it's like one person in the room, isn't it? If one person comes to you and says, "That was great. I didn't know that.
Yep,
That's really helped me," or "Oh, I could use that in my job. That was really really interesting."
yep.
And that's enough, isn't it? That feedback's enough for that session. I feel anyway. And you've done MMS, haven't you, a few times?
I've done MMS once. I
Oh,
was
you only did it
supposed to be
once.
there now, today.
Yeah, we
You
are.
know,
I know. Oh God, don't. Yeah. Did you get your reminder about the flight? Did you get an email saying you're on your flight this weekend? And I was like, oh man.
yeah, I got a reminder from. I'm using TripIt, so I got a reminder from them. But the flights have been canceled like a couple of months ago.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's terrible, isn't it? Um, so with MMS, you get actual. So I don't know if you've done this at other events as well, where they actually rate it and feedback on that. MMS
Yeah,
is one of them, isn't it?
yeah. Most events has written feedback. At least if you do Microsoft events, right? Like Ignite the Tour, and of course, I hate reading. So I hate that when you have like sometimes you have like okay like a normal average score and that's fine, but when you get this, oh, I really feeling this went really 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 well, and then you get the written feedback and then you have like one or two person who says I didn't like this at all.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was like, oh no, he broke my score. So it's like, but I mean, but it goes over like after, and I think okay, so I got maybe 130 people giving me feedback, and 3 people didn't like it. That means 127 liked it,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
So
there you go.
yeah,
But it's easy to pick up on those negatives, isn't it?
yeah, that's where you get stuck up on the negative.
Maybe it's like actors who, they can't look at the reviews because if they see that one bad review, they're like, oh, that knocks them. But you've got to look if like you say, if you've got 103 uh, feedbacks and 3 of them are negative, you've got to look at that difference, haven't you, and go, okay, 3 people, they're wrong.
Yeah,
No, that's good. I've not actually been rated in that way yet, so I would have been this week.
yeah,
Um, so are you going to be going in July? Are you still?
yeah. I'm still signed up, but my gut feeling tells me that it's not going to happen. But yeah, who knows? Uh, I don't have like high beliefs, and also still we have border restrictions in Norway, and the last message we got was that the border restriction might last all the way to August. So that's gonna break it if that goes through. So who knows, right? So my eyes are going into 2021 right now, and yeah, do this kind of stuff instead this year, right?
Exactly. That's where we'll have to focus. And have yes, you are. I saw your name. You're on board for the Workplace Ninja event, the virtual event there.
Yeah, yeah, I am.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't get accepted.
Oh,
Never
yeah.
mind. It,
Well, yes. So yeah, they had an enormous amount of people sending in sessions, and even now when they went down to virtual, they had to cut even more of them, right? Uh,
exactly.
so
And my submission was pretty lame.
okay. Well, I mean, it might not have been. Sometimes it's the weirdest sessions that could be the best ones.
Yes, yes. To be honest, So MMS was this was going to be my first one. I've never been, and I was going to be doing a couple of years ago, but I had to pull out of that one. My eldest son was having a school leaving event, which I had to be. I, I could not be there for that. Not be there for that. So I had to come out. So this year would have been my first, and yeah, it's a real shame. I mean, whenever I see you on Twitter, you seem to be flying around the place, doing all these great events and having a ball. So I'm kind of going, oh, I'm missing out on this. I mean, is that just part and parcel of what you do? You go to a lot of the events and some of them to present. You just go sometimes as a attendee.
Let me think. It's been a long time since I went to. So yeah, actually, last Ignite I was not speaking. Last year, but I did
You could
do.
just soak it up, yeah.
Yeah, but I did do a lot of. I spent a lot of time in the expo area, helping out on the Microsoft Intune area or endpoint manager area. So I actually think that is gives me so much more than going to sessions. Just being in that area, talking to customers, and hearing what they struggle with. Maybe I can help some, but at least having that discussion. And yeah, I learn from that too. So people tell me, yeah, but I've been doing it this way. And I say, oh, I didn't even know that was possible. So, I mean, we all learn every day, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. Otherwise, I don't think I'd be doing this. I don't know about yourself. If you weren't learning every day, if you were just rolling out the same old nonsense,
Oh, I would be so bored.
you get bored. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so I got accepted for MMS this year. I was surprised, glad, happy, all that sort of thing. And it was, I couldn't imagine the amount of submissions that had gone through for that. And it was, it's like you say, it could be just something slightly different, may pique the interest of the people who are making these decisions. But that worked for me this year. But Workplace Ninja, no. But never mind. Hopefully I'll give it a crack next year because hopefully we're back into that position of being able to travel and do what we love doing. So,
Yeah.
so thinking of, so this is one thing I've chatted to everyone about, really, just to see how you've been impacted by these lockdowns. I mean, so you're in Norway.
Yep.
How quickly did they lock down, and how much impact has it had on you personally and professionally?
So we had a lockdown around, I think it was the mid March when they started lockdown, when they closed all the schools and kindergartens and everything. And so for 6 weeks until after 1 week after Easter, so the kindergarten was closed. So I had my 5-year-old boy at home. Um, lucky for me though, my wife works in the kindergarten, a different kindergarten, but meaning the kindergarten was closed, so she stayed home too. So I have been able to work like full days, um, and work-wise, it's been still busy, even sometimes more busy. People need help getting remote workers out and getting cloud management gateway set up, VPNs not handling the load. So yeah, it's been actually business-wise, it's been good. But I miss meeting people. I really miss like meeting people face to face. I mean, I use camera a lot, um, but it's not always the other guys do that or other girls. So it's not always people turn on camera. And but if you have a virtual meeting, turn on your camera. It helps really because being able to kind of look people in the face when you talk to them, it really helps.
Yeah, it makes a difference, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Um, and we can all check out how long the beards are getting, the
Yeah,
hair.
yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
don't have any hair, so I'm good.
Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot. Beard,
I,
you gone
I
past the
just
stubble?
take my razor every 3 or 4 or 5 days, and then it's gone again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, we look after my brother-in-law who has Down syndrome, and he loves to have his hair shaved um, down to your level. And so I've been just taking him out into the garden and just doing it because I don't want to be cleaning up afterwards. Yeah,
Yeah,
do it out in the open. Vroom, it's all gone. The hair blows away. Fantastic. And yeah, so that's one thing that will be continuing post all this because that saves me £10, £20 every time.
yeah.
Um, yeah, why not?
I mean,
I don't. I don't
maybe
think I'll be rocking that look.
winter time. Maybe I don't know. You
No,
don't
I'll
have.
just stick him out the back. Do
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
yeah,
do it. Do it. We'll just put a jumper on.
yeah,
But yeah, I don't think I'll be taking on board that approach with myself. I've had it done once. It didn't look right
yeah.
in my
Well,
20s.
I got to the point where I didn't have any choice anymore,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah.
now it's like it's actually more work sometimes actually to keep it like sh- that shaved because I mean when I actually use a razor and shave it all the way down so it's like a bowling ball if you like, and then it's like if I go more than 5 days you see like I have hair, some hair on this side and nothing on the other side, so it looks like it doesn't look good. So I need to kind of keep it all down all the time, or else it's gonna be yeah. So
Keep it
that's
maintained
yeah,
to look that good. Yeah, that's the thing. You
yeah,
gotta. So I have this luxurious hair. It's
yeah.
almost. It's sort of it's gone all David Hasselhoff now with
All
the
right.
length. Yeah, wavy, flick it around, all that.
Yeah, you got curls and everything.
Few curls here and there.
Yeah,
Bit of grey kicking in. That's the age, obviously.
yeah,
The stress of it all.
yeah.
Um, so Jan, so going back, let's go back a few years. You're a little kid, yeah, little boy, growing up in Norway. Um, I spoke, asked quite a few people this. Morris wanted to be a fighter pilot, but it didn't happen for him.
No,
What? No, no, it's not worked out. What were your dreams? What did you want to be as a kid? Footballer,
uh,
pilot.
I found out pretty quickly that footballer was not for me. Uh, I dreamt of being a pilot too, but I'm too short for that.
Yeah, Morris had that. Yep,
Yeah. So yeah, we are approximately the same height. He's maybe half a centimeter shorter than me, and I tell him that sometimes. But yeah, I didn't have any like big dreams beyond that. I mean, when I was in my when I was a teenager, I was kind of going into like youth politics. So I think, okay, maybe this is a way to go, but then I put that away as well. And then I caught interest for the computer science. I got that pretty late actually because I didn't have my own computer before, like real computer, before I was like 18. I had a I had a Commodore 64, but that doesn't really count for me.
no, it does.
It does?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's a
then
computer,
I
isn't
had
it?
that when I was 15 then.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Press
how old are
play on
you, Jan?
tape, please.
Yeah, yes, load or yeah. So, how old are you? You 40 something?
Yeah, I'm 45 after the summer.
Okay, so yeah, I'm 49. So you're mid 70s. So Commodore C. So you got that about 88 or something like that, did you? 80,
Let me
87?
think. Yeah, it was pretty new back then.
Yeah,
Yeah, so no, it
late
was around
80s.
1990 maybe. Yeah,
Really? Should have
yeah,
got an Amiga.
yeah. It was all about the money. My
Yeah,
friend had
right.
a Amiga 500, and I was so jealous.
You missed out.
Yeah,
They were great. So I got one second hand. My parents went and bought me one from someone they knew, and that defined my days at university. Um, not in any way of programming or anything like that. Just mucking about on games.
yeah,
Good fun. Good
yeah.
fun. So Yeah, I wouldn't call that. Yeah, it's like you say, the Commodore 64. Would you call it a computer? Yeah, you could have done some programming on it, couldn't you? But it wasn't. It's far removed from what we're doing now.
Yeah, it was basically just about games. That was what we used it for, right?
Waiting 5-10 minutes for it to load,
Yeah.
and it didn't work. Some little
Insert insert turbo
yeah
tape.
yeah tape's crumpled and a bit of noise. It's not working properly. Hear the noise dipping, and you're thinking, oh,
Yeah.
please load. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
great days. Used to love the old Commodore 64. So what was your first computer then? What was that? Was it a Windows PC?
Yeah. It was Pentium actually.
Right.
So I bought
Huge
that when
huge
I
hard
was,
drive.
yeah, huge. I think it was maybe 2 gigabytes.
Oh, that's not bad.
And I had 32 megabytes of RAM.
Yeah.
That was expensive. Trust me.
Oh, I bet.
I think I paid like 350 pounds for 32 megabytes of RAM.
Jeez.
And I paid like 250 pounds for the sound card.
Well, did you build it yourself then?
Yes, it was a self build. So
Right.
yeah, it was a Pentium 2 233 MMX with I also had a DVD burner.
Yeah.
No, CD burner. Sorry.
Oh, CD writer. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, CD writer, and it was a Sound Blaster something 64 gold sound card, and I had the first ever 2D 3D card that was available on the market.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
And what was that for? Gaming then, was it?
yeah, for gaming. Yeah, so it was like it wasn't really a 2D 3D card because it was a 2D card where they have stick the 3D card just onto it.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was called Hercules Stingray or something. Yeah. So yeah, so I worked like 45 days in a row that summer on a gas station to be able to buy this machine.
Was that like so it's almost like the guy who sees the dream guitar. This was
Yeah,
what he's working towards it. This was your goal, was it? I've got to get this. I've got to build this thing.
yeah, that's it.
It's
That's it.
brilliant.
Yeah, and it cost me like 2,500 pounds or something.
Jeez. And what was it? Windows 95 was it? Or
Yeah. No, yeah. And maybe I run 95 for a few months before the first version of 98 came out.
upgrade time? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And what game? So you bought this video card? Was it which games were you playing then? Was it like your Doom style games? Was it
Yeah,
all
Doom,
that stuff? Yeah,
Quake,
right.
and
Is that your thing? Is it those sort of
no,
3D? No.
not anymore. I don't
Ah.
now. The only thing I play now is Nintendo, Super
Oh, what?
Mario, and Donkey Kong with my kid.
Okay. What is that? The new Nintendo stuff?
Yeah,
Is it
the Nintendo Switch.
Switch?
Yeah,
Right. Yeah. See, I don't play games at all anymore, really. And I'm trying to hook up with a friend to play Super Mario Kart, the old SNES version,
yeah,
over the internet. But he's useless. I sent him a HDMI cable because he couldn't find his. So he's 2 weeks later, and we haven't even set this damn thing up. We'll get there.
yeah,
Lockdown will have finished by the time we've actually got this organised.
yeah,
But Doom, we played it. He had like a 386 or a 486 PC when the original Doom came out,
yeah,
and we played that and we completed that, and we were just amazed at this game. It was like, my God, this is the future,
yeah.
and it pretty much is, really, isn't it? I mean, look at all the games that are out now. It's all that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's yeah, first person shooter is like it's a big thing. In addition to all these like multiplayer huge stuff that I never ever played actually. I'm so glad I never tried that. I would have been like in some hole just sitting around playing that, I'm sure.
Sat in your pants, yeah, in your underwear,
Yeah.
just
No, yeah,
twenty.
I have a friend actually that lost his wife and his house because he was just lost in this.
Jeez,
What's this game called again? This
is it Fortnite?
huge. No, before that. Like the
Minecraft?
no,
No.
no, it's I don't even remember. It's like this multiplayer, the first big graphical multiplayer.
Right.
Uh, yeah, I don't even remember the name, but he was all he was gone
He
basically.
got addicted.
Yeah,
That's sad, isn't it?
yeah, kind of sad.
Yeah. 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 These things do consume. I know Fortnite's one of those that it never ends. Everything it just respawns all the time.
Yeah,
So, you don't. There's never a game over. And if you can't pull yourself away from that, that's not good news.
no, it's not.
Okay, so you had your dream PC. You finally built that, yeah.
Yep,
And that's your first exposure to it. And you were working at the gas station, yeah?
yeah,
And were you studying at the time in computer science, or was that something
yeah.
you did
That was
after?
the first year of college.
Right.
Yeah, between year 1 and 2.
So computer science gives you your grounding, effectively in um, what's the content in that? Is it a mixture of programming, learning about all the ins and outs of PCs and that sort of stuff?
Yeah, it's programming. It's like hardware, and it's so it's I did like went to engineering, so it's like math, physics, statistics, algorithms, all kind of stuff. But I never got into programming though. I mean, I handled it pretty well at in school, but I never really got around to using programming for anything useful.
Was that just you? Did it not interest you, or was it a case
No,
of it?
yeah, it's a case of the first job you got basically, which was my first job was like maintaining and operating Oracle databases.
Right.
So some SQL uh, code I used back then. I think the closest I'm getting to SQL today is using yeah, log analytics queries. Yeah, and the closest to programming is PowerShell,
PowerShell, I
which
was
of
going to
course,
say, yeah.
yeah, it's kind of programming, but it's still it's not. It's more script language, not like programming language.
Yeah. I mean, I could never totally get my head around programming, and still don't. I can do it, but I struggle with it. Yeah. So I continually think things in my head of how I want it to work, but there's always this struggle to then implement it, and I'll finally get it going, and then all of a sudden I'll realize, okay, I've got the structure there, but then now there's an extra bit about the error checking and all this,
Yeah,
and I lose interest in it big time when it get. I was talking to Panu about this, that extra element of oh, okay, now I need to reset this. Now I need to, and then I was like, oh God, this just seems like too much to me. But obviously, it's not going to work properly if you don't do that. But my
no,
thing when I went to university, I had to kind of just learn a bit of this. Um, but I think there's a certain a certain type of person has the mindset for it, and that's just not me.
no. I like to I like to fix things with PowerShell, right? Um, I definitely do that, and having scripts and using Azure Automation, for instance, to make things easier from a day-to-day perspective. But yeah, the error checking, and I mean, if it fails, it fails. Then something's wrong, and then rerun the script, and next time it's gonna work. It's fine. So, yeah. So yeah, the other dudes, at least the dudes like Nikolai and Morris in our on our website, they kind of hassle me on the you have to do some more error checking. You need to make it more robust. And I said, yeah, but it's doing what it's supposed to do. So I'm happy, right? I'm moving bit A from to bit to place C. So I'm good. I got that user into that group. I'm happy, right?
And they'll go, but what if they enter this? You go, well, they shouldn't do that.
No.
Yeah, but then you've got to try and stop it from doing that. But yeah, no, I think it's from an automation point of view, and that, yeah, it's perfect, and it works really well for us, and so that's where we can really get handy with things and create things and little tools or whatever it is. And I do enjoy doing that. I get satisfaction from, oh, that worked for me, and finally cracking it. It's just I don't think I could ever sit down as a full-time person, that just being the only thing I do, churning out code. Um, Not for me.
No, I need to talk to people and have workshops and be hands-on and do stuff, not just sit and type in Visual Studio Code or whatever. Um, that I enjoy it when I do it like on my own time, like doing stuff because I want to fix something or I want to create something cool I want to share with the community. So
Yeah, you're a
that's
people person, aren't you?
yeah, kind of
Yeah,
yeah.
I can see that in you. So yeah, when we've met a couple of times, well, more than a couple, haven't we? We've been a couple of summits, we've a couple of times in London,
Yeah.
and I always know when you approach, there's going to be a bit of fun. Yeah, you're you're a good guy. You're a funny guy, and you're a people person, and so I know that you will interact well with your customers, and because you just have that natural kind of charm to yourself. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. There you go. Pass me the money later for that compliment. Yeah.
Yeah, I will do that.
So you like I say, you've been MVP for a little while, 4 years.
Yeah, so
Four,
since
yeah,
October 2016.
right. And you're in enterprise mobility, as you say.
Yeah.
And so how did that all come about? So you've obviously done some blogging with the SC config manager guys, and I will MEM
MS Endpoint Manager.
MS endpoint manager. Sorry, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, basically, so my journey kind of started when I in my so let's scroll back a few years. So I have also worked in Microsoft, and but the job I had before that, I was kind of pushed into the speaking for customers because maybe they thought I had the talent for it. And we had some events, and I really enjoyed being on stage talking about our approach to solving problems or talking about our solutions and products. And then I went into Microsoft, and in Microsoft I was there for 3 years and 8 9 months or something. And the first year, after 9 months, I went from consulting into technical sales. So then so for 3 years, my job was talking to customers about tech, which was a dream job. The only thing I had to do was go around, talk to people about stuff I love. Right?
Yeah, I can see how that works for you. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
a-
Yeah.
And then I left Microsoft, and I was then I through the years in Microsoft, I got aware of the MVP stuff, and so I said, okay, this is my way to keep on maybe having some interaction with product groups and understanding the value of that. Because when I was in technical sales, I obviously also had a connection with the product groups for Windows and config manager and the stuff I was basically selling. Um, so then I think about, okay, so where do I go about this? And then I started working with Ola Tvedt, which is a pretty long standing name in the MVP community from Norway. We started working in the same company. So we kind of followed each other through two companies after Microsoft, me and him. And so he was kind of mentoring me and helping me understand what was needed um, to get into the MVP program. And yeah, so it started out with blogging. and then it went over to speaking locally at first, and then it was public speaking outside of Norway after that. But the main kicker for me was I was blogging pretty heavily on Intune, which at that time was not very common in the enterprise mobility space, and Microsoft was really eager to get Intune people into the program.
And so, what was that? Was that focus around mobile device management?
Yeah, it was about even
iOS and Android, yeah.
yeah, but it was also Windows.
Okay.
Yeah, because when I left, so in Windows 10, I think it came out in 2014 or something. If I not 15.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. So probably we started playing with beta earlier, and actually when I worked in Microsoft, I was also working with Intune, the old Intune. So that's how my interest for Intune came. So when Intune was released in the first iteration, where you could basically patch Windows, yeah, that's when I started working with Intune. So I was kind of in the incubation team for Intune.
On board pretty early.
Yeah, so we were kind of trying to get those tap customers in. I mean, the product was nowhere near any enterprise ready, right? But yeah, that's where my interest came, and then all the other stuff like mobile management came later. And yeah, so that's basically how it started. And then I came into a company called Lumagate, where we had a lot of MVPs in one company.
Yeah, Nikolai worked there as well, didn't he?
Yeah, Nikolai was
Yeah.
there, and yeah, so it was a bunch of MVPs from Norway and Sweden, Denmark, and we also had two guys, one guy from Ireland and one living in Switzerland, I think, working for Lumagate back then. That were all MVPs. So that kind of gave me that, really good. I really want to do this too. I want to be a part of those guys. I want to go to the summit and go to all these conferences and talk and speak like they do.
Yeah. You hear the conversations and you think, oh, I'm missing out here.
Yeah.
This sounds cool. Yeah. But to try and get on board to that, it doesn't seem like at the time when you're doing it that it will ever happen. I don't know if you felt the same.
Yeah, I think it took about 2 years for me from I left Microsoft until I was an MVP.
So that for you was a goal, though. Yeah, that
Yeah,
was like you say. You wanted to get that interaction back, so you were pushing for that yourself,
yeah,
and very proactive in that. Um, but
yeah,
still, like I say, you don't ever expect it to happen, really, do you? You might have some nominations, you might have some mumblings that you think, oh, I've done enough here, maybe I might get on board, but until it happens, it's an unknown, isn't it?
yeah. It is an unknown, and now in these times where we are all kind of sitting around waiting for the 1st of July, we don't know what's going to happen. We can have a good feeling, we can have a bad feeling, but we have no clue. And even though I was one of my benefits, of course, was that I knew a lot of people in Microsoft Norway back then, and I was nominated by Microsoft employees um, to be an MVP because they also wanted to have an MVP in this area, and yeah, so it was a lot of things that went my way, I think, that fall. But yeah, it's the same every year. We don't know what's going to happen in July, and I call it the nail biting period from 1st of April until 1st of July. And the funny thing is that sometimes in that period, you kind of, oh, now I put in the last effort. And I was like, okay, then you try to think, okay, maybe I'll take a break and just wait and see what happens in July. But then you realize if I do that, then I'm going to have just 9 months to do it again next year.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
that's a quarter gone, isn't it?
yeah, so you can't relax.
No. No, we're not allowed to relax, are we?
No.
I mean, how much time does it take up for you beyond you've got you're running the business, that's intense enough as it is. Then you're doing all the community stuff. How much time are you taking out to do that on average, roughly per week?
Well, it's kind of switch around now, of course, when I'm not traveling. So I do more other stuff, working on stuff that I may or may not release, like some solutions or scripts or something. But if you look at last year, I basically, I think I was on 11, 12, 13 different conferences speaking, at least. And some of those are like a week long, right? So if you take an average, I don't know, it's a lot of time. Yeah, it also takes up some time to run the website, right? So that's something that's not so visible. Again, all the stuff we do in the back end to keep the website optimized and running smoothly, and we all the migration stuff we just did. I mean, me and Nikolai spent probably at least 40, 50 hours each to getting all the content over from the old site and DNS trouble and everything. So yeah, it takes time.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things that you do. I'm talking, personally here, where that doesn't even come out into the community because you're just working on things
Yeah.
and you're trying things out. Um, and you that never gets logged, does it? Because we have to log down, we have to put down what we contribute in,
Yeah,
but you
I
don't.
actually log everything. So I mean, of course, if I've been working on a script that I tossed in the bin, I'm not gonna yeah, I'm not gonna log that. But I mean, if I'm working on a script that I'm publishing, then I'm gonna log it and I'm gonna say I spent 50 hours making it. And if even if I'm a slow scripter, I don't care. I'm just gonna write that down. But then we have this option, right, where we log stuff that's not public, and that's what I do for those kind of content. And also sometimes we are invited into private previews. I recently been working pretty much a lot with a private preview that I hope comes out soon. And yeah, reporting bugs and stuff to Microsoft, right? And then it's like that is also not visible to the community right now. But at the end, we help Microsoft making a better product before they release it into a public preview.
Yeah, yeah. The last preview thing I was going to help out with, I was having all sorts of problems with my lab. I've had 6 months of pain with my lab, which being an old school config manager guy, I need that lab.
Yeah,
And I had to pull out. I said, "Oh, I can't do it. My lab, I was getting corruption on a hard disk and all this, but the amount of times I had to rebuild things to get it to the state where I was almost. 1 minute, I'm just doing a call. I'm doing a podcast. Oh, 1 minute, my daughter wants to ask me a question. Hey, some ice cream. Yeah, I'll keep that in the podcast. Yeah.
yeah. Ice cream for the daughter.
She went, no. I don't know what I was talking about now.
Yeah, you're talking about your lab and the amount of time you use on private
Oh
preview stuff.
God, yeah, yeah. So I had this. I had all sorts of problems with it. I was having corruption on the hard disk, and I had to rebuild things. I pulled out of this particular public preview because it wasn't reliable for me, and but the amount of time I'd spent on labs rebuilding, etc., it was huge. But you don't log that stuff. Because you can't really, can you? Oh, I had to rebuild my lab because my hard disk failed constantly.
Yeah, no, I mean, of course, it all depends, right? I mean, if your lab crashed because the preview was really bad, then it's like, hey, I've been troubleshooting your preview and I spent like 100 hours on it. I would log that.
I would log that, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. But just trialing things out that you're never ever going to blog, you don't even do that. You didn't even put that down. So it's one of those things where you go, okay, what Jerry Hampson said to me, this is it's effectively, I think even Kathy says this, it's another job, really, is it? On top of your job, it's full time almost that you're doing this stuff, but you've got to kick back and relax at some point, and have your own life, your own personal life, and it it can consume at times, but we do it for enjoyment. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing this ultimately.
Yeah. So all the community stuff, I see it like it's my hobby, right? I don't go fishing or hunting or running or anything stuff like that. My hobby is the community stuff basically, right? That's my interest, and I'm so lucky that I'm actually allowed to do work with what is my main interest, right? So, like a fisher, somebody who likes to fish a lot, but that's not his work, is it? Right? We're lucky; we are able actually to do what we love into a living.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So it's it all works out in the end. Trying to convince the wife that you know, oh, I've just got to do this for a few more hours doesn't always go down well, though.
Nah, I mean, it all depends on the paycheck, right?
Yeah, well, there is that. Yeah. So I was going to ask you then. I mean, outside of not config manager, sorry, the Windows M365 stuff and all that. I mean, do you have other interests that you do? Are you into guitaring? Are you into music?
Nah, the only main interest I have outside this is my motorcycle.
Okay.
Yeah.
And tell me more about it then. What is that? I know it's a
Oh,
motorbike, but
yeah, it's a motorbike. It's a Harley. So
oh, you got a Harley, right? Have I
yeah,
seen a picture of this on Twitter? Did you put a picture on
yeah,
recently? Right.
maybe not recently, but yeah, I have been posting pictures from time to time. So yeah, I like the feeling on riding around on the bike just when it's sunny and warm, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And at least now in these days when I'm sitting home so much, just in the afternoon, just go on the bike and drive around for an hour. It's a blessing, really.
So during this lockdown, then you can go and take a pleasure ride as such. Yeah, you can go out and
Yeah,
spin the wheels for a bit.
because we don't have that kind of lockdown in Norway. It's like not really like we're not allowed to. It's not like we're not allowed to go outside or something. It's all about keeping distance, like social distancing.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, schools have been closed and stuff, but and people are been working from home. But like the grocery store has been open, but like the hairdressers has been closed, the dentist has been closed. So of course stuff has been closed, but it's nothing. And also going a ride around with the family on the other bikes into the forest or whatever. We have been doing that too.
The push bikes, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what you call it, like a
Yeah,
bicycle.
push bikes. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so we're allowed, well, it's all very strange because we don't, it's very blurred, as in it's defined but there's no real definition of it. So we're allowed to go out once a day for exercise. Of course I've been doing that. I have been out on my push bike a few times, but the the ability to just jump in the car and go off for a little drive somewhere, we're not supposed to do at all.
All right.
So we're not allowed to just nip down to the nearest coastline or anything like that. And even just go into parks, you can't go to a park and just sit and sunbathe. So it's very different as such for our lockdown. So we wouldn't be allowed to, or would we, to jump on a motorbike and ride around for an hour. So we
Now,
kind of lose that.
according to Peter, Egerton, he was not allowed to. So I guess you're right.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's where I saw the picture. You were having a conversation with him about it.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, but Norway is a small country. We have areas of Norway that has basically had nothing because we have a big area, but it's not that many people. But the Oslo area where I live is like at least half of all infected has been in this area, basically. But we don't have that. I mean, the numbers are really not that bad for Norway. Um, it's very low death rates, and yeah, everything is going like looks like it's going in the right direction now. At least here for now. But again, people are expecting it to go back up again. Who knows, right?
Yeah. Who knows? Yeah. Yeah. And you're probably, well, it's whether people are following the rules for the social distancing. That's quite key. And obviously, where I live in London, we've got the tube network and the rail and a normal rush hour. You can imagine what that's like. Um, well, you've experienced it. You're crammed in. That will have to change in some way. But I mean, is it similar near Oslo then? I mean, on the public transport.
Yeah, it's kind of they have half of the seats on the bus is like you're not allowed to sit on them.
Okay, they've marked them off. Yeah,
Yeah, and there is like on the bus the where the driver sits is like you don't go in that door, you go in the door in the back to protect the driver, and people are again they want people to work from home, and if you first time in years people have been told to if you can use your car to go to work you should do that, right? It's been like everything is flipped around. It's been like, hey, take the bus, take the subway, take the train, and now it's like, no, don't do that, go in your car please.
yeah, yeah. No,
So
I mean the thing with it. So it's interesting you say about people going in the other entrance on the bus. Then was that something that was done straight away?
it wasn't done straight away. So the point is that people were complaining about infection control on public transportation, and then they got some new guidelines, and now it's like enforced.
Yeah. So in the UK, they didn't implement that straight, or in London, sorry, they didn't implement that straight away. But I think there was about 10 drivers who lost their life,
Hmm.
lost their lives. So they flipped to then going on to the back, the other door, and having no contact with the drivers. I don't know if that solved the problem really, but it's yeah, it's terrible, really. I mean, I've not been on public transport at all since the lockdown. I've avoided that completely. Um, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I avoid public transportation any day of the year anyway.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, totally. So when you do jump on the bike, then, so what's the perfect, what journey for you? Where do you go off to? Is it out into the wild?
no, it's like any curvy road with no cars, like outside the main roads on a curvy road where I can just uh, maintain my own speed, not being in behind a car or a lot of traffic around me. That's perfect.
Yeah,
And
just the
some
open road.
yeah,
But
just
but
the open road. I mean, and I don't like riding on highways. That's boring. I need like some curves and yeah. So I have some routes that has curvy roads. Some of them are down by the ocean line, and some are more in the forest. It doesn't really matter. The most important thing is that we have it's sunny and not cold.
yeah,
Yeah,
and by having those sort of windy roads, you've got that interaction with the bike. Yeah,
yeah. That's what makes it fun, right?
makes it. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Because I mean, the only time it's fun on highway is when you drive more than legal limits, right? On the curvy roads, it's like we don't have to ride fast; you just have to all the way work with the bike and lay down on one corner, lay down in the other corner, and have like that interaction, like you say.
Right. So you're feeling the machine a bit more, yeah?
Yeah.
Working with it. And how long you had it then? You had it for quite a while.
Yeah, this bike I had for 2 years, and but my first bike I got in, yeah, maybe 10 years ago now. My first bike.
And was that just a love for it, or had you been on one before, or just something you'd always wanted to get?
Yeah, so it was a dream from, yeah. I had like a moped when I was really young, 16, 17, and then I was like, hey, someday I'm going to uh, take the time and money to take the license on the big bike. So yeah, I just did it sometime, and then so the first bike I bought was like a 1200 cubic big, so 1200 cc something. It was a crazy bike.
So it was like I've had that Dream Winders 98 PC. Now I need the motorbike next.
Yeah, well, it took like 15 years after that, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's good actually. You got it a while back. It's not like middle age um, moment of you know I need to have this because I'm in middle age now. You'd kind of done it already 10 years before.
well, I did it when I was 35, so it's kind of somebody saying it's close to the 40-year crisis. I don't know.
Oh, was it? Yeah. Yeah, I started learning guitar in my 30s, so maybe that was mine. I was hoping I could maybe tour the world as a session musician, but my guitaring skills are pretty poor, so it's never happened. But it's one of those things, if I could turn back time, would I have done it? If I'd learned as a teenager, maybe, rather than going into IT, could it have been the career for me?
Yeah,
Um, who knows?
who
Who
knows?
knows?
Yeah.
So what's next for you, Jan? Are obviously we've got to get lockdown out of the way. I mean, what is it a case of growing the company, just keeping Cloudway ticking over, and
Yeah,
it's
so
obviously been a success.
yeah, well, so the good thing about Cloudway is that we don't have any growing plans really. It's all about keeping it as a sustainable business over time. So I mean, if we meet people who wants to work with us and have the right skill set, we can take them on board. But we don't have like growing goals or anything like that. It's more about being able to have enough money in the company and still be able to do all the fun stuff as MVPs and in the community as we does.
Yeah, that's
So
quite a nice balance, isn't it?
yeah, so it's I mean, it's for me it's like keep on doing what I've been doing the last years, and maybe sometime in the future, who knows what happens. I have no future plans beyond this right now,
But I
actually.
think I think you're probably enjoying it enough right now to
Yeah,
not really have to think too much about, oh, maybe what's next for me,
yeah,
because you're having too much fun in what you do,
yep,
which is a nice place to be, really, isn't it?
yeah, it is definitely. Yeah, I never been so settled in a job before as I am right now. Like it's being settled maybe seems like a negative word, but it's like I feel like I'm home, basically.
I mean, that's a nice place to be, really, isn't it?
Yeah,
It the stresses aren't. I mean, I'm sure there's stresses here and there, but for you as a person, are not there because you're happy
yeah.
in what you're doing. Yeah,
Of course, sometimes it's stressful with customers and cases and stuff that doesn't work. Like it's IT. It's always going to be like that. Deadlines and stuff, right? But in the end, I mean, we have a good business. It's not just afloat. It's like it's going good, and everybody's happy. So
yeah. I can see that. I can see that from. I mean, this would be some articles. Were you in a newspaper article or an online article recently where you were interviewed about the company and how it got going, and it just seemed everyone seemed pretty chilled out in it. I think.
Yeah. Yeah, the article was actually about the fact that we didn't have an office, or we don't have an office.
Mm.
So it's like the journalist started the article about saying, so when I asked Cloudway if I could come and visit them at the office, the response was not expected because we don't have an office. We don't have any plans for an office. We don't need an office, right? So either
Which
we're
doesn't seem
working.
a bad thing at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, why would we need an office, right? I mean, either I'm working remotely against customers, or I'm on site at the customer. And if we had an office, it would just be empty. Why should I go 1 hour in my car to go down to Oslo center in rush traffic just to sit alone in an office?
Yeah, yeah.
It's like
To do
just
exactly the same as what you're
yeah,
doing at home.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make any sense. It's only unnecessary cost.
It's the modern way of working, as everyone's seeing now, isn't it? Really.
Yeah,
And by conducting everything over conferencing and obviously meeting face to face is not happening now, but that you can still do that. You can go to the customer site, have meetings. You can meet in a coffee shop, whatever you need to do,
yeah,
but avoid that cost of that overhead of renting an office.
yeah, yeah. And that's one of the reasons why we don't have to necessarily push every consultant every month to work their butt off, because we don't have that overhead. We don't have a company leadership who doesn't invoice. We don't have a sales guy or a marketing person or stuff like that. We are 7 people in total, and everybody does invoiceable work.
Right.
So we don't have any overhead. So it's kind of, yeah,
It's an interesting little concept, and it seems to be working really well for you.
yeah, it does. It really does.
Yeah, and, it's been a pleasure chatting to you, mate. It really has. I've enjoyed this chat we've had and getting to know you a bit more.
Yeah, same,
Um,
same.
it, you know, I'm getting jealous, mate, because you know, you seem settled, and that's great. It's perfect, really. That's nice to hear. And good luck with the business. I hope that keeps growing for you and keeps, doesn't stress you out too much. Keeps you happy is what I should be
Yeah,
saying. Hope that,
yeah,
hope that continues in the long run. And hopefully, once all this lockdown and stuff gets lifted, we'll meet up again.
yeah. We will meet up again. It just depends on when, right?
Yeah, who knows when, who knows
Yeah,
where, as they say on the
yeah,
old classic
yeah,
"We'll meet again" tune. Yeah, and it's been a pleasure. Thanks for joining me on this week's Just a Couple of Jerks podcast, mate.
yeah. Thanks for having me.